Happy New Year's Eve. This is the fourth time I'm trying to do this. And you'll have to forgive my scratchy voice if I start coughing. So it's about to be 2025. And then in a couple of years, it's going to be an apocalypse. Wish it wasn't true. But as a member of Gen X, I can use our catchphrase. Whatever. Whatever. Bring it. So, Generation X was born between 1965 and 1980. And the last thing I heard was we're the generation of all the ones that have been labeled. We're the generation with the least number of people. Don't know if that statistic is still true or not, but it doesn't matter. Gen X lived their entire life between the time they were born and the time they got around 30 when their brain was pretty much fully developed. Brain's always developing, but you can call it an adult brain. Thinking we were going to be in an apocalypse. Not even kidding. Our whole life. So, let's just start listing off wars that we lived through and still continue to live through wars. But during our formative years, we lived through the second half of the Vietnam War, we lived through the Gulf War, the Afghanistan War, and the Iraq War. And of course there were plenty of skirmishes and things. I didn't want to dig too deeply into that. We're always invading people. So there was that. Being at war your whole life. Hearing about war on the news your whole life. War, 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 war. Seeing these people come back from overseas completely damaged. Seeing that all our life. That's one reason that we are fully equipped to go into the apocalypse. Number two, the things that we had to deal with. The Cold War, as in tensions with Russia, and thinking we were going to get nuked. Every single day. Thought we were going to get nuked. Getting prepared for that. How to survive nuclear holocaust. As kids. Trying to figure it out. Then there was a whole thing about the ozone layer. The hole in the ozone. They either, one of two ways you were going to die. You were either going to die of expansive mass heat, or you were going to die of an ice age. Either way, you're going to die. So we were prepared to die. Then there were the HIV and AIDS misunderstandings in the very beginning of that disease when you didn't really know how you caught it. And little kids think they're going to get AIDS and die because they don't know how you catch it. Oh, and you know how we were always going to die? Either by finding this random abandoned refrigerator out in the wild, getting in it and closing the door accidentally and suffocating, or we were going to die in quicksand. Apparently quicksand, we thought was everywhere. Thought we were going to die. Oh, in the 90s, we were going to get kidnapped by satanic cults, to get dragged out to be sacrificed. So we were going to die that way too. So, bring it. I'm ready for it, bro. You can't scare Gen X. You can't scare us. Nope. And of course, as we were growing up, all we watched were nuclear fallout movies and post-apocalyptic movies like Mad Max and Terminator and the national news. Heck no could you watch anything about human sexuality and see nudity, but it's okay for us to be fed a constant stream of movies like Magic that are psychologically disturbing and all these violent movies from the time we were in diapers. Literally, parked in front of the television in diapers watching these things. So that's why I say, bring it on. I will look it in the eye, and I will smile at it, and I will crack a doomer joke, a black joke, or a dark joke. Because that's what we do. I remember one time, I think it was 2021, and every year at my work, there's a costume contest in Halloween, and we were trying to get up a group costume idea. And I suggested, hey, why doesn't one of us wear like the plague mask, and one of us be like Grim Reaper, and then one of us be like the coronavirus, and then like we could have somebody that's on a gurney on their stomach because they can't breathe because they have COVID. It's just a dark joke. Somebody in the office got really offended, and I could tell they're not from Gen X. It's a dark joke. That's how Gen X coped with their lives. In between being latchkey kids, being sent outside all day long, doing crazy things like climbing up on the roof to adjust the antenna, not having the internet. Most of our formative years, no internet. Had things like Atari, no internet. And then once the internet first began, it was so primitive. It's not anything like it is now. So, I have some advice. When you're too broke to buy good food, I'm used to eating poor people food because we were poor in addition to everything else. So, if you find yourself only able to buy bologna, and if you don't know what that is, look it up, B-O-L-O-G-N-A, bologna. It's pretty gross, except if you end up having to eat that, this only meat you can afford, what you do is you take the little rind off the bologna, and you get a knife and you cut a couple of scores in the side of the bologna. Then you heat up a pan and you blacken it on both sides so it's nice and crunchy. And then you toast your Wonder Bread, because that's all you're going to be able to afford. You have to toast it. And then you're going to take one side of the bread and put a big blob of mustard on it. And that'll make that sandwich edible. Oh, and by the way, if you've never had Hamburger Helper, because that's all you're going to be able to afford, the beef stroganoff is the best flavor. I think followed by the Taco Mac. Everyone have a good evening and be safe.